will the government of Meghalaya will make any attempt to revisit and review the Memorandum of Understanding and try to get back some of the villages and areas that have been given to Assam? If yes, it is a positive step, and if no, sir, what is the stand of the government?
As the Honourable Member himself has mentioned, a very complicated process where previous governments have also done their best to try to come to a conclusion. And hence the steps we took were not easy, they were very difficult. But in the interest of the people and the state, and in the interest of ensuring that there is long-lasting peace, the government went ahead after detailed consultation with many stakeholders, including the HIMAs and the Khasi Hills Autonomous District Council, the Jayanti Hills, as well as political parties and different organizations. So to reply to his question specifically, number one, so the question of revisiting the MOU does not arise. The first MOU that has been signed, that is signed in the presence of the Honorable Home Minister of Government of India. Number two, sir, he mentioned that will there be efforts to get back the villages which we have lost. So just to inform the Honorable Member that maximum of the villages that have come to us, in fact most of the villages have come to us, and in maximum of villages that were there, it has been because of the will of the people. So the people in those areas have expressed their willingness, and that is why both the states have decided to go with, whether the willingness was with Assam, they went with Assam. When the willingness was with Meghalaya, it came with Meghalaya. So the villages left out, as being mentioned by the Honourable Member, it is very important to, at least in this House, to discuss. When we say left out, what does the exact definition of left out mean? And number two, which are these villages that we are talking about? Because, sir, if there are demands from people which have been there for villages which were never in the discussion, which were never in the disputed areas originally, and which are way inside the boundaries of Assam and are not as per the demarcated areas of differences, which the map that we had submitted in 2011-12, saying that we're leaving them out would be not correct, at least on the floor of the House. Because those areas were never in the consideration. They were never in Meghalaya, sir. In the sense, they were never in the disputed area. I'm sorry, I stand corrected. They were never in the disputed area. And hence, today, some villages, because of the talks that have started, are today saying that they would also want to be in Meghalaya. Hence, for us to now add them into the list is highly, very difficult. So if you're saying leaving those villages out, then we have to give the right explanation. What I'm trying to say, sir, is that generalizing a statement and saying the villages that were left out would be incorrect. In this whole, the exercise that we did, I can tell you, sir, that villages were there which were in, say for example, sir, in Gizang area. So in Gizang area, there was a village called Malsapara, sir. Now this Malsapara village, which is way up north towards the boundary of Assam, and which is beyond the Gizang Reserve Forest. So therefore, it was like a block where Malsapara is on top, and there's a whole reserve forest, and then the other Amagaon and the other village, Gohani Mara, come in there. So Gohani Mara and Amagaon are the villages that agreed to come to Meghalaya. Whereas after the Gizang Reserve Forest, which is about 10 square kilometers, comes a village called Malsapara. Now, people of Malsapara, when the discussion was taking place in that village, people said they would like to be with Assam. So hence, with the principle of people's will, Malsapara was agreed by both states and by the people of Malsapara that they would like to go to Assam. So hence, we have to be very specific and clear when we talk about which village we're talking and what category they fall under. So if the Honourable Member has a specific name of the village, sir, I would be happy to reply to that.
Where the signing of MOU is purely based on the recommendation of the 3 regional committee
So the MOU and the discussions and the final outcome that came was based on multiple factors. Of course, we looked at the past records, we looked at all the aspects of the 6th schedule and the original maps, the traditional maps that were there. All those areas were discussed. Second, sir, we went into aspects of the public opinion. So we had large public hearings that took place, and in those public hearings, people gave their opinion, and literally kind of a voting took place where people were asked, like a referendum almost, where people were asked which side would they like to be. And apart from that, we also looked at contiguous areas. So we looked at the fact that if the different villages are already way into Assam and or way into Meghalaya, and the demands and the actual logistics don't allow that contiguity to follow, those were factors that were there. Number 4, we also looked at the overall aspect of giving proper administration to those areas. So which areas would be more convenient if the administration had gone to Assam or Meghalaya. So there were multiple factors that we looked into. So it was not that it was basically only the decision of what the regional committees came in. But the regional committees' reports were very important, simply because of the fact that they contained the most important aspect, which is the people's will. So therefore, that gave a huge weight to the entire discussion, but many other factors were involved in the final conclusion of the MOUs.
So I would like to get a clarity from Honorable Chief Minister, whether he dares or not to bring for review the MOU. That's what I want. People of the state want to know about that.
So before I start, sir, I would request he don't interfere and intervene when I speak, sir. That's my request, sir.
That is the practice.
So first thing.
We are here bind by rules and law.
Yes, sir.
Rules and procedures.
So please follow the rules. So the first point which I mentioned is that all of us are emotional about this topic. There's no doubt about it. And I respect the sentiments of the honorable member and what he's been saying. And that is the reason why we as a government decided to go ahead and say that we will find a solution. And we have, as I said, conducted more than 28 different days. Multiple meetings took place. And this discussion has gone to the micro detail and involvement of everybody, sir. Why I was telling the honorable member to name the areas of differences is because sometimes this happens, sir. We become emotional about some issue, not even knowing the areas of differences. Not even knowing the villages, not even knowing the sentiment of the people out there, not even knowing what has actually gone into it. If there are areas of concern that are there, please name them. Tell us which area you're talking about, which area you want to be reviewed. Just creating a scene and drama and trying to show emotional outbursts is not the way, sir. We are all emotional. I mean, there's a reason why we're sticking to this. But just simply coming here and having a shout and drama and all these things for whatever reasons, sir, maybe elections is coming or whatever it is, I don't know. That does not help. If you have a specific concern and a specific village where the issue is there, please tell us. We are ready to discuss. And that is what is the purpose of having this question and speaking for 45 minutes on this, sir. That tell us specifics. Don't be generic. We're not able to resolve a problem if we're being generic and just giving out emotional outbursts, sir. This is a serious matter. We are here for serious discussion. We are ready to answer all the questions. We're ready to take the talks forward. But please be specific and give us constructive opinions. Even it may be criticism. You may criticize, but be constructive in the criticism. So therefore, sir, there is a way of doing things. Emotional outburst is not the way. So that's my request, sir. And to reply back to his question, sir, we dare to move forward with this. It's not a question of dare to not move forward or dare to... We dared to go ahead with this. This is the only government that dared to say that we will do it. We took it as our responsibility that we will do this. It is we who dared.